There we go. Hey, gang. It's Monday. We're back. Oh, I got my. Yeah, I got to do my sound effects. Can't live without sound effects.
Wake up, goddammit! Oh, did you miss me? Well, I miss y'all too.
Yeah, weekend's over. I missed y'all. Did the 20-second song today. I should have gave myself a little bit more time. Just gotta check, make sure things are rolling properly here. Let's see. Oh well, there we go. I'm kind of sort of on a camera. I don't have any lights on. Well, that kind of sucks. That's a little better. Deflect it. There we go. That's good enough. It's radio, damn it. And we're on the air there. So let's go. So it's Monday, 11:01, 99.1 WDJY, and the rest of the Mastiff Media Network. I'm busy. It's been one of those mornings. I've got some of the mold taken care of in my kitchen. And what else? Let's see what's going on. Get this up. Can kill the pre-show checklist. We're live. Pierre's pot. We're going to be saying hello to my friend Alex today through that. Mirror Monday. Marcella's going to be joining us at some point. I don't know how. Oh, you know what? I got to send her a link. I got to send everybody the link for the day. And if you're listening, Mars, Jane, I finally figured out Restream. The link I send you now will be the one you'll be able to use every Monday. I'm learning. You can teach stupid people new things. And there's a copied link. I'm going to send that to Mars. Should have done this a while ago, I know. And I'll send the other one to Jane at the commercial. All right, what else? Yeah, so Mirror Monday. Mars is going to be joining in a second. Pierre's pot. Bias. We're going to be talking about my biases particularly. And that I am an equal opportunity offender. I am preaching things from both sides. I acknowledge that while they're both, for example, supporting tax-free tips, which I will be implementing here, by the way. Tax-free tips, they both support that. I acknowledge that Trump came up with it first, one in a row. So he had a good idea. Blind squirrels find nuts. He's still a traitor. It doesn't change anything that oh my God, my nose itches. This doesn't change anything that the rest of him is just crap. But first, morning motivation. I got to turn this off too because this is, I don't know, every time I turn this off and turn the sounds and haptics and other things and turn it on silent mode, buzzers go off all the time. I turn that off. I don't hear squat. I didn't hear alarms this morning, although I got up anyway. Morning motivation. Let's share a screen here if I can find everything. There we go. See, now I don't know what that looks like on the actual screen, so I'm going to... Oh, well, that's kind of important. Take the overlay down in the first place, huh? Everybody at home is like giggling right now. Dumbass forgot to hit that button. Hey there. There we go. All right, so for those of you only on radio, I had the show's logo up on the screen the entire time I was just talking, which is fine. But now I went to share the screen, and fortunately, I went back and had a look at it because some of the things weren't there. So morning motivation for today. Jeff Bezos, at one time, this is actually an old visual or whatever. He's not the richest man anymore, I don't think. I don't care, really. He said he asked Warren Buffett, your style of investing is so simple. Why doesn't everyone just copy you? And Warren's answer was because nobody wants to get rich slowly. That's what we're going to talk about with the morning motivation. I'm not rich, but by the time this hurricane comes and goes and the rebuild starts and then the rebuild finishes, it's going to be next year's hurricane season. How do I know? Well, I just watched that happen. I just watched my neighbors go through. It's not the maximize I wanted to do, but go through this whole process, everything. I just watched them rebuild for Medallia. Remember last year's hurricane that hit this area hard? Fortunately for me, at that time, anyway, I'm thinking I would have rather suffered greatly last year because this would be over. I would not be dealing with what I'm dealing with now. It would have been done. But I wonder if that's getting in the way now. There we go. Put it right there. I've watched neighbors got their house last year from Medallia, spent easily 9 or 10 months in a hotel with family, wherever. Ugh, these Bible thumpers are killing me. Let's see, just try up the middle radio show. Boom. I just want to make sure that what this looks like. So I'm going to turn into. Let's just try up the middle radio show. Boom. Okay. Looking good. Good. Okay. So my screen here in the studio is just the visual that shows Jeff Bezos and Warren Buffett. I can't see if my ugly mug is actually on the screen. So I went to my phone and Facebook, and I can see there I am, ugly as ever, looking at the camera, not looking at the camera, waving in the phone. All right. Yep. Good. So I've watched neighbors just doors down because the elevation changes that much, while I had a dahlia come up to my front and back door. That's it. They've had knee-deep water in their house. Now we've all been in waist-deep water and couldn't do anything about it. Well, with what I'm going to do, and I just wrote this to my insurance agent today, the adjuster is fine with it. The bank is fine with it. The county's excited about it. The adjuster actually was pretty excited about it too. I'm building up. They're giving me money to replace what I have here. What I have here is going to be 2 stories higher than where I have it right now. And how am I going to do that? I'm using their money and my family's construction experience to build up. And with that, I'm going to have a 3-bed, 2-bath house. It's just going to be 3 stories off the ground. You say, well, wait, 3? I'm now a 1-story, 1-level house. It was flooded. Between 3.5 to 4 feet of water, depending on the spot in the house, depending on the spot around the property. It was flooded. Everything's moldy. Everything's warped. Wood products and furniture and walls, drywall, whatever. It's essentially totaled. There were some valuables that I had on a higher shelf. Other things that, just survived. My computer equipment, my electronics for the show was on my computer desk, which is hydraulic. I can make it higher so that I can stand at the desk. I can make it lower so I can sit in a bar stool, and I can make it lower still so I can sit in a normal chair like I've got now. I jack that thing up. The 4 monitors that are on top of each other, two 28-inch and two 37-inch, are side by side in that configuration. They're 2 and 2. The upper 2 monitors were touching the ceiling, almost touching the ceiling. I couldn't turn on the ceiling fan or they'd have gotten whacked. So they were all saved. Tactical error on my part. I think I left them plugged in to the junction box instead of unplugging that whole bird nest of stuff and just putting it up on top of the desk. Now I believe the cables might be screwed. So, yeah, I got to replace power cables. That's it. Hopefully, that's it. Because it's probably a good $1,000 worth of monitors just in those 4 monitors. And I'm missing them, by the way. Oh, God. Working with 1 monitor right now sucks. Working with 2 sucked. I mean, 4 was spacious properly. So, getting rich slowly. I'm not going to take all of the money that the insurance company is going to pay me to rebuild my house and rebuild the idea that I have now on paper. Well, electronically. What I'm going to finalize with is not 3 stories. It's 5 stories. I'm not going to be able to afford that right out of the gate. That's not going to happen. The first floor here, we're going to make safe. We're going to remove the drywall. We're going to remove cabinets that have mold. Anything like that is going to go. The stone countertops, the stone vanities are going to stay. Probably reused later, either upstairs or here. And that's it. Like I said, the walls will be pulled out, but they'll be sprayed with whatever protection for mold that kills it and prevents it. And then that's it. I don't care. I'm not living in this part ever again, at least not long term or with any substance. Then we're going to rip the roof off. The second floor, which is now has a 3.5-foot ceiling at the peak, it's less than a attic or crawl space, will have a 7-foot ceiling all the way around. It will be a short but complete floor over top of the current foundation. Why? Because what's there already is the HVAC for the ground level. That's going to stay there. Yep, Mars, I see you. We're wrapping this up. Mars is ready for Mirror Mirror Monday. She's backstage. I think that was her that beeped in anyway. Let's see. Get out of this one. There we go. Brain fart now. Where was I? The second floor is going to be the maintenance level. And that's it. We're going to put up walls. We're going to put floor on the current floor joists. Actually, I'm looking up right now. We're going to need floor joists because the rafters to the roof is all that's there. Put plywood down over top of it and done. And then the next floor goes on top of that. And what is that? I just make sure she knows I see her. We'll come back to morning motivation. We're going to bring out Mars. She's got some things to do to talk about Mirror Mirror Monday. Hey, girl.
Hey. What's
Happy
happening?
Monday.
Oh, yeah. Happy Monday.
Plans to rebuild.
Oh, like the $6 million man?
Yes, we can rebuild him.
My kiddo told me yesterday that I what was it he said? I'm telling him about all this work that I'm getting done, not cosmetically, for my health. And he says,
Yeah.
I'm not going to go. He says, work. And I said, yeah, like, I want to be Jamie Summers. Thank God he knew who that was. He is 35, but he knew who that was. And he said, that means you're going to be walking like this. And he's doing the music and walking really slow. And I said,
Oh, I
yeah,
used to run like that.
yeah. And so
When I
he
was a kid, I
says,
used to run like that.
I think every kid did that who loved the show. So
Yep.
he says, I'm not going to Disney World with you next year if you're going to be walking like that. And I said, you do understand that was slowed down. That was slow motion, but that they're actually walking really fast. He goes, either way, I'm not doing it. So, yeah. Anywho, yeah, I'm just limited for time this morning because I've got the little one homesick. So I am
Oh,
going. Yeah, she's not feeling so good. So I'm with her, and I'm going to see if I can get her over to the urgent care and have her taken, to have her looked at just to see what's happening, or maybe the ER, depending, just to make sure that she's okay. So I'm actually waiting for a call back from her school, and then I can call the doctor, and then we're out of here. But I got some time for you. I'm having my coffee for the first time this morning.
we got coffee here.
Yeah, yeah. See what's happening.
What I was on the Breakfast with Champions called this morning,
Uh-huh.
and it was Jordan Belfort's wife was the featured speaker.
Again.
Was she on? That's what I thought. Wasn't she on already?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I've spoken to her. She's going to come on our show.
Very cool. Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, she's nice. Actually, I mentioned that to you the other day. I know there was a lot going on though. Like you were like literally stuck in the middle of a twister and headed to the land of Oz. But
Yeah.
yeah, she's we're gonna get her as a guest on here.
Very
I have
cool.
a couple of people I wanna bring on. I've got this beautiful friend in Hawaii who plays the ukulele, gives lessons. Just an incredible person. This is just the kindest soul. So I'm trying to get him on. And just a couple of other people I really like, and I think that people would benefit from hearing their story, their voices. I've got that party this Saturday, so I'm mentally preparing myself for that.
Oh, cool. Very nice.
Yeah.
And which is your preference for Tuesday or Thursday to record an episode this week?
Maybe Thursday would be better in the morning, our old
Morning,
slot.
I can't
No?
because
Then why do you ask me?
I've got an 8 a.m. I thought we were doing the afternoon after everybody goes to school.
11 o'clock. It was our
That's
normal
good.
time.
That's my regular show.
It used to be our regular show.
Yeah, would you want to do it? If we do it weekly, I can do Thursdays. We can do Psycho and the Psychic Thursdays.
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay. Yeah. It would give me
Okay.
something less to try to figure out every day. You can ride your
I think we
coattails.
should go back to Tuesdays and Thursdays so we can break up this monotony of politics and
Well, probably not till after.
humdrum. This is
I
so
would say
boring.
after.
Oh yeah, somebody special's got a birthday coming.
I know I do. Do you also? Yeah, you're
No,
December.
dummy, I was talking about you.
Okay.
I said somebody special. I'm gonna take that
I
back.
was gonna say,
Somebody boring's got a birthday coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would very much like to have you. It wouldn't be political, but it would be during the political show.
What?
Friday, November 1st, we're putting together a birthday episode.
Yeah.
And because it's going to be mostly everybody just calling in to say hi, it's going to be very little politics, even though it's the last Friday before Election Day.
Well,
Definitely love you to be one of the call-in people, of course.
are all your friends gonna be there?
The three regular or the two other co-hosts, yeah.
Yeah, so they're not gonna talk politics while I'm there, right?
No.
Okay, good. I thought I can do this. Of course I can call in.
Yeah.
Of
Cool.
course, yeah. But if they're going to talk politics, I'm going to shut it down. It's like, no. I'll put everybody in a jar for a day. I don't care.
I mean, we'll go back to that after we're done talking with you.
Okay.
And there will be political people calling. So there's
Is
that.
the president going to call you?
My nose itches today. God.
Will the president be calling you for your birthday?
The vice president's was this past weekend.
What do you mean? No. Will the
Kamala Harris.
president be calling you for your birthday? Yeah, I know
I
what her
doubt it.
birthday was.
He's probably forgotten about me.
Wow.
Although I could maybe have Hillary and Bill call.
I would really like that. I want to say hi to Bill.
Yeah.
Hillary's
I
okay.
gotta work on. I gotta call my buddy up there, see if he can help orchestrate.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You should do it on Clubhouse.
I finally got the link needed for Chatter.
You got the chatbot?
Not yet, but I've got the Consuela sent me the link. I got to do some things with my
Consuelo.
desktop, and she sent my name to somebody to have me added. And I got to reach out to that person once I do the things on the desktop, the whole process. But I'm looking to have that.
I am so sorry. I got to run.
Is
Can
it
we
ready?
pick this up
All right,
later?
dear.
Yeah.
All right.
See you later.
Marcella.com, MarCCELLA.com. That's Mars from my co-host from Psycho and the Psychic. And yeah, love that girl. She's awesome and puts up with me. Nice job doing that. Let's bring back up and finish this out. Jeff and company. And so my get rich quick thing, not get rich quick. So our recipient of Pierre's pot is chatting with me up on YouTube, or rather Facebook. So the morning motivation, this isn't going to happen overnight. And I'll post, I guess at some point, I guess I'll have to put them in today's show notes. But the diagrams that I've done on Chatter, on Canva, Mars and I were talking about Chatter on Canva. This is going to go from 1 story to 5 stories. The second story, like I said, is going to be maintenance. That's it. The third story, the third floor, is the first floor of living space, because technically this ground floor is going to be nothing than essentially a finished basement. Ultimately, now I can leave the bathrooms in. I can put a kitchen back in. But we get another flood. Sucks to be me. So something I'm not really going to put a lot of, especially this time around. I'm hearing so many of my neighbors talking about building up, but then they're spending money on the first floor. I have neighbors that just paid some other company or used some other company to gut and treat their first floor. That's going to come out of your insurance settlement. If your insurance company is going to pay that, then they're not going to pay you to build up. I'm doing all those things where possible by myself. My dad's coming this weekend. We're going to finish that. By the end of the weekend or into next week, this is going to be looking like a construction site, because that's what it is. But we're still going to have that money to build up. Then we're going to rip the roof off. He's going to want to do other things like rehang drywall or look into this. No, it's those studs are going to be open. They're going to stay that way. I don't care. I'm not living in this space until we move, or at least until we're ready to move up, not beyond that. So once we get the third floor done, I'm done. I'm finished down here. Then we're going to move up. Take the roof off. We're going to keep a lot of the material. I don't know if we're going to keep the trusses as they are, because one of the things that I want to do is get rid of the gable ends. I want to take off, because basically that's a parachute, and I want to make like a pyramid, like some of the other roofs in my neighborhood. But there's no gable end. It's the flat side. It's the slant, and then boom, straight down. Same thing all the way around. And I want to do that with a lot of this material. So it's not going to be the same shape, so not these exact trusses, but we can rip that apart. And that's going to save us money on materials. We actually don't have, he said about using the plywood. Well, that's original. We don't have plywood on the roof. Those are planks. Those are 50-year-old planks. It's probably like some sort of like 1x8 or 1x10 type of plank, because I can see the seams every, I don't know what that is, 8 or 10 inches. It's right above me. It's right there. You can tell them in the garage if you're watching on video. Or if you saw my recent post on Facebook and Instagram, there was a garage door right behind my monitor and camera. That's where I'm at. Now, right behind me is my bed. Well, my air mattress. And then once we get that done, that's going to be the maintenance level. It's going to be very simple. The third story will go on top of that. And that's going to be my first floor of living space. Well, there's going to be 2 more floors above that. There's going to be a 4th floor, which is more living space, a bigger living room and kitchen, and a master bedroom, master suite. But there's kind of sort of a master bath and bed on the 3rd floor, which is where I will be living until the 4th floor is finished. So what does that mean? Does that mean we're going to have to put the roof back on and take it off later? Maybe. I don't know how long this is going to take, because not all of it's going to be paid for by the insurance company. What they're going to like, and what they already like, as per the adjuster and the bank, is that they're never going to have to pay that again. God forbid they do, because, it would be that deep that it's necessary. But anything that ever comes back to this first floor, to this ground floor, the cabinets that are being yanked out, I said the stone's going to stay there, will be stainless steel. Not entire cabinets, but shelves. Just like a professional kitchen. You can look below the kitchen, the countertop that the chef is cooking on. Look beneath that, you can see his knees. You will be able to do that in this kitchen. Why? Why do I care if I don't have beautiful kitchen cabinets in a floor that I don't live on? In a floor that's just for partying? On a floor that is ready for the next flood? The 3 things that will not be on this first floor ever again, as far as a permanent structure. Maybe they'll be stored here, but that's it. Those 3 things are wood, drywall, and carpet. Never again. The cabinets, like I said, will be stainless steel. There is something outside in my outdoor kitchen that's studded up with something on the outside of it. I don't know what it is. That's I don't know. It looks like plaster. It looks like sheetrock. It's clearly waterproof. And I don't mean that there was no water inside the cabinet at my sink, on my outdoor sink. I mean that there's no rust, because there's nails and screws in it. There's none of that. There's no mold. I looked inside. There's nothing like that there at all. Why is that not here? So somebody just checked. I wonder if that's Jane already. Wow. How much else back? So, I mean, maybe we put that for the walls inside. I don't know, but not until I'm on the third, maybe even the fourth floor, because I don't need it. I don't care about it. Anyway, that's how you get rich slowly. I'm rich now. I've got a place to live. My dogs are healthy. My son, though he doesn't live here anymore right now, he's healthy. He's okay. Speaking of which, I'm going to make sure his ass is in college. Boom. It's a good kid. That's it. Take your time, people. Enjoy what you've got. Use what you've got. Use it wisely. I'm going to be gutting the house myself with my dad. We're going to be building up with my dad. Not going to cost $120,000 to put me back under an entire healthy roof. All right, let's see if Mars wants something. I don't know. It might be a hippo on her end. Hey, girl, you there?
Yeah, sorry. I thought it was the doctor's office or maybe the school, and actually it turns out I'm starting orientation tomorrow
Nice.
for school. Yeah, I did tell you that they're like pushing me to go back to school
Yep.
because for some reason, even though I've got a challenge with walking because of my fibromyalgia, they want to put me in a hybrid program where I go to school online a couple of days and in the building, the school itself, a couple of days. And I just talked the guy off the ledge. I told him, listen, this is the honest truth. I also have a child with autism, and it's very challenging for me to have to travel all the way to Brooklyn. And he says, hey, promoted, and we will get you in the virtual program. So I'm really happy to hear
Total
that.
virtual now?
Yeah, I am.
Good.
Yeah, it gives me an opportunity to continue to helping her work on her business. So,
Right.
exciting stuff. You want to talk about Mirror Mondays? She just got a sublimation machine.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's going to be making her own merch instead of having it print on demand.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you knew about that. We were doing mugs before and T-shirts and hoodies.
Wow.
Yeah. Also, did I send you the new logo? She's got a new business that she's starting. It's incorporating all of us, me and her and Angelica, or should I say me, her? Yeah, me, her, and Angelica. Sun, Moon, and Mars. I know you get a
Very
kick
cool.
out of that. Yeah. So,
Very nice. Yeah.
so that's that. I told you I've got the party on Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah.
On Saturday,
That's
that's going to be a
that's
lot
the
of fun.
holiday party, right?
Yeah, it's a Halloween party. It's a client that I've worked with before. She has a really nice group of people, and I think I read close to 50 people last year.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. So, um, yeah, so that's that. We're going to be doing that Saturday, and then Sunday I'm going to an event with an old high school friend, and then preparing for the rest of next week. You know, everything that's coming up. We got a lot of stuff coming. All of our new guests that are coming on the show. The girls are working on their podcast once a week, so they're recording now, and Luna's going to edit it herself. And then they'll start
Wow.
uploading episodes. Well, she's really brilliant. You know that, right?
Yeah.
She's so brilliant. I wish that her TikTok had not been hacked. Somebody hacked it and deleted all of the content. You could have
When did
seen
that happen?
a couple months ago, and we're still trying to get it back. And they keep telling me, no, we don't have this ID. Of course, you don't have this ID. Someone deleted it, but you have to have record of it somewhere. So I don't know what's going on with their system, but she made so many videos. I have some of them on her page, on her Instagram page. If you go there, you'll see the ones that she did. Where she's either advertising the crystals or doing something funny. My favorite one is when I think it's pinned up there, but she did a lot of work on it, and it's upsetting, and at the same time, it's like, you know what? Let's start from the beginning. Let's get this, get a fresh start, and have her grow it organically again, just like she
Yeah.
did last time. So
Well, we'll help push that.
I appreciate it. I do. I mean, she's so brilliant. And then, she's graduating in June, so we got a lot going on this year. She missed picture day today. So my goal is, how I'm always manifesting stuff?
Right.
My goal is to get a photographer to donate a portrait session with her and to donate a couple of prints to me. I would really love that if somebody could, just sit with us and take pictures of her in the cap and gown and, and fix her hair, do the whole thing. She deserves it. She's such a great kid. So just putting it out there.
Graduating?
Luna.
From a senior?
8th grade.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Last time she was like 12. How can she can't be graduating?
She is 12.
I went from elementary school to junior high to high school, and I was lucky graduated when I was a senior.
Oh Lord, tell me about it. I think I went to school maybe like one day every 2 weeks when I was in high school. Shh, don't tell my mom. And I still graduated with an 80 average. Teachers like me, and they would all tell me the same thing. We haven't seen you all year, but if you pass the final exam, we'll pass you with that grade. Got an 80 average.
Good for you.
I'm a pretty smart cookie when I want to be.
How teachers realize telling you that they can get themselves banged up?
Well, my school doesn't exist anymore either, so it doesn't matter. That was a million years ago, Ross. I was in high school in the 80s,
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, so, but yeah, that's what's gonna happen. She's gonna graduate, and I'm manifesting all these things from her. Our trip to Chicago, where I get to see my other kiddo and her fiance. While we're there, we're gonna spend time with them. My other goddaughter lives there. Our good friend Julie Logan is running Creative Con, and our friend Sonia Chand, who's been on our show. Who else has been on our show? I'm trying to think. Well, either way, we're going to meet all these fabulous people over there. And this is going to be a special trip for Luna because she'll be interviewing people there.
Nice.
I think that's going to be fun for her. Yeah, her and Angelica. And I really need to utilize this more to help promote their businesses and to help promote Angelica's face. I mean, she's a model. And even though she signed with an agency, she's really not getting a lot of work right now.
Why is that?
I think that the agency she signed with, as reputable as it might be, and I'm not naming names, but I think that they want her to do a lot of the work. And in my experience, when an agency wants you, they will do the work for you.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I
it's
had to go to school. I had to go to modeling school and all this other stupid crap that models don't know what to do. I told an agency in Miami.
You've seen her page, right?
What's that?
You've seen her page, right?
Oh, yeah.
She's a beautiful 100%. Girl.
And in fact, every time I log into Instagram to go live with Instagram, there is this model there that reminds me so much of her.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I'll take a screenshot of it tomorrow.
We need to get Angelica's picture out there more. She's a gorgeous girl. She's done many shoots, and she's looking to promote herself. But here, let me see if I can find one for you that I really like. Okay, I'm gonna screenshot this one and send it to you. I love this picture of her. It shows her delicate features as well as just how different she is from other people. She's very unique. So I'm gonna shoot this over to you on WhatsApp. Let me see if I can get this over to you. Here we go. I just sent it.
I've seen that one before.
Yeah, she's gorgeous. She is gorgeous. We've got people also saying that they're interested in shooting Luna, and I'm going to be 100% honest with you. She's only 12. I do not want her dragged into anything like that. So if it was just print work, hell yeah, Yeah, there she goes. There's my girl.
Got to, anytime I share a photo like that, I can't not share what you and I have already shared in the
I
chat.
think you can.
Really?
I mean, when I share it on my laptop, I don't see anything like that. I just see the photo.
Yeah, but I don't write. But do you share it like that through WhatsApp or? Let's see, that doesn't help.
Anytime I do a screen share, like on Zoom or something, or on Google Meet. But yeah, so that's her, and she can be reached through me also. You know, we're gonna add her links to my page. But then you've got like I said, then we've got Luna's merch, her crystals.
Another app, if I open it with like not through, but will I open it through like the whatever that app is that you shared?
What are you talking about? Instagram?
What do you see now? Do you see it?
Yeah. Yep.
But doesn't have the other things, right?
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I just love her look and yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Her aesthetic.
And just like even for she's in what, her like early 20s?
She will actually be 23 at the end of this week.
She, for as such, you presume she's got fewer life experiences. She still has like a level of intimacy with the camera,
and a very celestial vibe, right? She's very celestial's the only thing I can think of to say. She's ethereal in some ways, but at the same time, she's very earthy. Could you see her as a tree nymph?
Didn't she do something like that?
Let me check. I can go ahead and check. She's incredibly grounded. So when she shows up, she can take on most any aesthetic. I don't know. A lot of the shots are just selfies that she's done. Luna actually created a T-shirt with her image on it. Just trying to remember which app we did that on. But we actually were selling T-shirts of her. I wish I could find it. Take a shot of Luna wearing it. But yeah, so that's the other thing we'll be doing. So we'll be printing out the image and using the sublimation machine to put it on T-shirts, mugs. I guess anything that you can put an image on. And the girls will be selling them.
I need merch too. Maybe I can hire you guys.
There you go. That's the other thing. We're looking for someone to donate supplies. We've got the machine. We just need the supplies. And there's always people willing to help. So yeah, let's put it out there. I can help my 12-year-old grow her business. Luna's whole thing is she's got a little bucket list of things that she wants to do when she gets older. The first thing she always tells me is, I want to help you pay bills.
Oh.
And I was surprised. Most kids, well, I want to go on a trip. I want a toy. I want this. No, she says, I really want to help you pay bills. And, she gets it. She understands that being a single parent is a challenge. And then after that, her other things are, I'd really like a saxophone, because she's learning the sax. She'd like a piano, so she's got what I call very grounded tendencies. What is the word? Because I'm not thinking in English anymore. But she's practical in a lot of ways. So she wants the saxophone. She wants art supplies so that she can paint. She wants a fancy easel. She's got one and she uses it. She doesn't complain, but she'd like a professional one. She'd like these pencils that are great for shading and for her sketches. So these are the things that she talks about. I'd like to have this thing, and when we get it, she's so grateful. She always says, oh my God, and sometimes she doesn't want to use them. It's part of her autism. She'll stare at them for a while to study them. So those are the kinds of things that my little girl wants to do when she starts to make money. And then she wants her own laptop. She doesn't have a laptop, so she wants a laptop that she can use to edit her videos. She does it on her phone right now, but the phone is older too, and we're getting to the point where at some point we'll have to get her a new phone with more memory on it. Or more gigs, right? That's what they call it, more gigs.
Right.
More space, yeah. So all these things are manifesting for her, hopefully by her birthday, which is in December. And so she can just better herself, because my plan is that she goes to a good high school. She's trying to get into an art high school. She goes to a good college, and then she can just take care of herself. And I won't have to worry about her. Like I don't have to worry about my other children.
That's it. Then they can start worrying about you.
Nah, I don't care that they do or not. I'm just glad that they can take care of themselves, I mean, my son. My son comes over every Sunday, and we have dinner together. And last night we had a really nice conversation. I told you he called me Jamie Summers. Well, I called myself Jamie Summers, and he said, "If you're going to run that way, I'm not walking with you." Don't laugh. I see your face.
I know. All right, I've got to move on to the next one.
Yeah, I've got to go too. I've got to get another call.
Speaking of this, she just popped in. That's not what I was talking about.
That's
when
okay.
I went to the next one, but
I've got to hit. Yeah, I've got to head out anyway. Hey, Jane.
But yeah, I've actually got to take a break. But
cool.
Marccella.com, MARCCELLA.com. That's Mars from Psycho and the Psychic, and our segment Mirror Mirror Mondays.
Mm-hmm.
The resident psychic. All right, dear. I will talk to you soon.
See you later. Okay, take care, Jane.
So yeah, you just popped in as soon as I said I got to move on to the next thing, and I
heard
that's
that.
what I was talking about.
So here we are. You have to take a break?
I do. So 99.1 WDJY and everybody at the Mastiff Media Network and my dying voice. It's soon coming up both sides now, and we'll also get in Pierre's pot before we get to all of that. Where? There we go. I'm going to take that off. There it goes. All right. 99.1 WDJY and Mastiff Media. We'll be back after this. Hey, gang. Does your house smell nasty? Do you want to freshen it up a little bit? Go to aromabypeter.com. Check out all of Peter's candles. It's what we burn here in Studio Yerg's. I'm burning right now leather scented candle. That's right, leather scented. So go to aromabypeter.com/Yerg's and check out his candles today.
I'm Jane Stahl, retired English teacher, and with my BFF, Susan Bebeck, we manage Studio B Fine Art Gallery in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. We showcase the art of hundreds of local artists, publish books of the poetry, prose, and art of local writers, offer classes, art parties, workshops, discussion groups, cater dinners. We've even hosted a wedding. And we're here to be the go-to place for friendship, learning, and fun in our community. Virtual tours of our exhibits are available right here on Yerg's Radio. Let us introduce you to some amazing art and artists.
Check out Jane Stahl and everyone at Studio B in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. Please visit our YouTube channel, Talk TV 24. How's your website doing? I'll tell you how mine's doing. It's awesome. Yergs.com is gotta be the best website for anybody in podcasting or any sort of broadcast solo journalist like me. How did I get that? Limit Break Digital. Limit Break Digital did my website with Yergs.com. They did YergerGroup.com. They take care of my marketing, my branding, and help me get the message out to you. Go to limitbreakdigital.com/Yergs for 10% off your next project. That's a $3,000 site, Yergs.com. And you can get 10% off that by just going to limitbreakdigital.com/Yergs today. Talk to Jay. That's my guy. We all got a guy, and Jay's mine. limitbreakdigital.com. Hey gang, it's Yergs. Right now, our country is about to embark on yet another controversial presidential election. I have an actual question, legitimate question, as a political scientist and historian by education. If you are a Trump supporter, I want to hear from you. I want to know what your appeal to Donald Trump is at this time. Please email me news, N-E-W-Z, at yergz.com. News, N-E-W-Z, at yergz.com. Thanks. Participants must be willing to provide their contact information, answer a series of questions, and then have their first name broadcast over the radio and social media. All right, we're back. What have you been doing with yourself? I've been sitting around for the past year and a half, and that's not good. So finally, I'm back. I'm getting the momentum. And where's that momentum? Momentum Fitness and Wellness. Bayonet Point, Jasmine Estates. That's the gym I've been to since I've been here. Just not the past year and a half. Well, if you want to keep or get that Hernando Beach body, hit up Anthony and everybody at Momentum Fitness and Wellness, right on US 19 at Jasmine Estates. And what else did I say? Bayonet Point, Hudson, but south end of Hudson, just before the Richies on 19, right by the Arby's and the U-Haul. Get the momentum with momentumfitnessandwellness.com, or you can just walk right up to the door. There's a QR code right on the door. Scan that, sign up, you're in. And definitely, hey, just wanted to let you know that YouTube recommended your channel to me. Good. I'm not sure why, because I don't know. Well, stay tuned. It's a political show. This one, I don't know which channel they recommended, by the way, because this show's on more than one channel. This is on Up the Middle, which is the title of this show. This is also on Talk TV 24, which is another channel that I have that does podcasting, radio shows, things of that nature. And I don't know which one, but stick around. You'll learn something regardless of whether you're in political stuff or other stuff. It's definitely a good time. I've got to get into Pierre's pot, but we'll also bring out Jane. Say hello to everybody again. Where was it? There was a comment. Yeah, so 6, stick around. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Thanks for writing in. Pierre's pot is what would that be? Would that be like an homage? You're hidden behind a marijuana leaf. There you go. Would that be an homage or when we honor somebody like that? Pierre Robert, you might know who this is because you're in his market. Since I was a kid, remember Junior High Life, the newspaper?
Mm-hmm.
Ever since I went over to Joe Levengood at the education center.
Printer. Yeah, the printer.
Printer.
Yes.
Yep. We printed listened to, ready for this, kids, a stereo.
Oh.
It's sat on a bookshelf. And it lit up when you turned it on.
Mm-hmm.
All those things that happen on a phone now.
Right.
And we listened to 93.3 WMMR.
Oh, Magic
rock
Radio.
station.
Yeah. I remember it well.
Since Pierre's story, I've told it before, but I'll briefly do it again. Pierre Robert was a disc jockey in San Francisco in the 70s. Very early 80s. When his station turned to urban country. I don't even know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
Motorcycle instead of a horse, but you still listen to country music? I don't know.
Who knows?
But urban country, he changed his air name to something I don't remember. But it didn't work. He's like, no, this is not me. So he quits.
Okay.
A buddy of his comes to him and says, hey, I need a ride. I got to go to college. Do you mind taking me? And they pack up his Volkswagen bus, the minivan of the day, the Volkswagen bus, Minerva. was the name of his minivan, of his Volkswagen. And they drive to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Whoa.
And he sends us. Back then, you actually had to make a tape to mail and physically give to the program director of a radio station.
Okay.
And in 1981, he made a tape to a man named Joe Bonadonna of 93.3 WMMR, who said, no, we don't like you. You're not for us. So he's sitting there wondering what to do. And Talk TV 24. Yep, there's a bunch of different playlists. This is one of them. As soon as I get caught up, Jane's show will be one of them. Be Inspired podcast. Our show is one of them. This one, we'll cut this part out and make a separate podcast, both sides now. So yeah, there's plenty there for you. There will be a lot more coming within the next couple of weeks. As soon as I get this election out of the way and can stop, get rid of some of the politics, we'll be back to broadcasting a bunch of different things. So he's doing a touristy thing. Have you ever been on South Street in Philadelphia?
I have, yes.
Yeah.
There's a song like that too.
Yeah. He sees a psychic there. Speaking of Mars, he sees a psychic, and she tells him he needs to rush home. There's a letter waiting for him. So, thinking that rushing home means San Francisco, he hops in Minerva, goes back to his buddy's apartment where he's staying, with the college guy. And there is a letter from Joe Bonadonna of 93.3 WMMR, taking back the denial or whatever, the ask him if he would reconsider.
Rejection. Yeah.
Yeah. And said, hey, we'd like to consider you after all. And he's been on every single time slot that they've ever had ever since. That
is the Pierre.
Was 43 years ago.
Wow.
He's still a 69-year-old hippie playing his own rock music. He's now on Minerva 2. He got another. The first Minerva died. The second one almost died. And one of the local body shops did a whole remodel of it. And now Minerva 2 rides again. And he does a thing where he talks to a good citizen, also a listener, and just, compliments them for something. Are you ready for today's?
Absolutely.
Today's compliment goes out to I hope he's a listener also now, but a Facebook buddy, a guy that I actually met a couple years ago in Ocean City, Maryland, named Alex T. I don't know if we like last name, so we'll just leave it at Alex T of Ocean City, Maryland. A toast of the morning sauce, as Pierre would say. That would be coffee. In your direction.
Okay.
Alex T is a young entrepreneur, brilliant real estate guy, has a bunch of different properties throughout the Ocean City area, doing very well with them, using one to pay off the other, and so on and so forth. And he's using the income to do very well. Not everybody's perfect. Alex T is a Trump supporter. And within the past couple of days, mostly today, we actually had an intelligent, respectful conversation about politics, about the pros and cons of each. And we didn't name call. Nothing like that. So today's
congratulations
of Pierre's pot is my buddy Alex from Ocean City, Maryland. Today's toast of the morning sauce in your direction, pal. Hope you're still listening. And we're supposed to do that about an hour ago, but anyway, thanks, man. Well done, and good luck to you on November 5th. I hope that you are willing to accept Kamala. I had to get one shot in.
Just one.
That was it. That was all. It was a very intelligent and policy oriented.
Well, do you want to?
What?
Can you share? Because you've been on a mission to find out how and why folks can support. Donald Trump. What did you learn from Alex T?
Well, I wonder if I can't get rid of like the other. Maybe if I just shared the screen. I'm trying to think of how I could share the actual chat
The dialogue.
without showing
Yeah.
like the 900 other chats I've got going and other people's full
Right.
names and such. If I just move it over like that, and I shared my screen, I just minimize a bunch of things so as to not create that psychedelic loop. I like that.
So, oh, there you go.
Yeah, and I can
Something like that, huh?
yeah. How's that? Is that working?
Well,
Oh, but
it's
now
small.
yeah, now I had to have that over because if this clock thing that I have to use is pissing me off. I had to have it like that because now you can't see like the other people's names. Maybe we go like that. Is that a little less crazy?
Well, it's a small type, so it's hard for me to really have to get really down in there.
That's all right. I'll read it.
Okay.
So we start out. That's where we're talking about the wall. Oh, that's back in 2017. Okay. So I started it earlier today. I replied to a story. He said something about the bit that Trump did about working at McDonald's, where he worked at the drive-thru.
Okay.
I don't understand how that people think that proves that somebody can run a country. But I replied to his post with that photo of him waving. Finally, a job he can handle. Hope they keep him away from the cash register.
Okay.
And his reply was, "Wish he handled every cash register." And I gave him the funny look emoji.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "And take me down with his 7th bankruptcy? No thanks. Helene tried hard at that and failed."
Mm-hmm.
And I have to learn what this is. I think he misspelled bankruptcies, but they were all controlled bankruptcies enforced by, and I think it might be, he says enforced. Is that in hyphen forced? Is that a word, or is he saying enforced, like E-N?
I think I can't, unless he's doing some kind of pun. It's enforced, ENFORCED, but maybe he's suggesting it's some kind of inside job.
No. Enforced by banks with high interest rates who still made their money.
Mm-hmm.
And business bankruptcies I've always found interesting because they're the opposite of personal when on that large of a scale. And my question was, do companies ever survive? And I gave 4 examples of Trump Steaks, Trump University, Trump Shuttle, and the casinos. And maybe some of these had other issues as to why they didn't survive, such as the fraud scandal behind Trump University or Trump Steaks. I think he was using crappy meat. He said most of them get bought out. The design of, I presume, the design of the bankruptcy, the design is for the brand. I said my brother and his wife survived a bankruptcy, and they're actually doing really well right now. He says, I'm ready for the liberal agenda to change. The border issue is insane. Money being given out that needs to stay home. And I didn't get to address that because I went right to the border issue. I asked him, I said, what was the first act of the Biden administration? And he said that they revoked the Keystone Pipeline and stopped funding for the border wall. I said, that's wrong. The first thing they did within hours of being inaugurated was sending a bill to Congress addressing immigration, one that was almost identical to the recent one that was supported by the Border Patrol. Mm-hmm. And it's bipartisan design. So they did that by themselves without the help of the Republicans. And later on came up with almost the exact same thing. And I said, it too was squashed by a president that wasn't even in power.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes back with, he literally did that day one. Again, I'm presuming he's talking about revoking the funding for the Keystone Pipeline, because we, were both typing and got crossed over. And I said, within hours of inauguration, he replies back, he also got us back in the Paris Climate Pact. That was day one. I'm like, I don't know why you would be out of the Paris Climate Pact.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying that's a good thing. I said, oh, yes, but the wall funding wasn't working anyway. Trump's wall fell over. He says it's still there. I've drove through it back in 22. I think the majority of people who don't like Trump dislike him for personal reasons, not policy ones. I said, let me stop you right there. I said, well, first of all, here's the wall, a picture of the wall, the portion of it that fell over. No, the whole, all of what, 40 miles? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
of the, what is it, 1,800 miles that the Rio Grande is?
Mm-hmm.
And 40 of it that Trump built? Not all of it is going to be finished, and not all of it fell over, but there's a section that did. So I replied directly to his comment about why the majority of people that don't like him do it for personal reasons. I said, wrong. I said, he's a traitor first and foremost. And that's supposed to read, that's not me being emotional. That's me being on our nation's intelligence and law enforcement communities for 21 years. He said that fell over because they stopped making it. That was debunked a while ago. I said, dude, it fell over. Who cares? I see plenty of construction projects that stop for lack of funding. Build a house in Belize. There is no mortgage industry in Belize. You build what you have money to pay for, and then you stop. As a Belizean national, we Americans come in with money and go right up. But when they build a house, they build a room. And they put a roof over that room till they build more. And they build what they have money to pay for in cash right there. It doesn't fall over because it was built right. And so I finally said, all the other positives about Trump. He's their candidate for family values. Mm-hmm. And I said they were divorced 3 times. And I said, yes, 3. You haven't seen Melania, have you? And in, I don't remember if it was the Stormy Daniels testimony or the one other Playboy model. She was telling about her tour of the residence in Trump Tower. And they're walking down the hall, and he points and says, that's Melania's room. What? She's got her own room? Like own bedroom? And then they're financial. He's been bankrupt 6 times. Is that who you want turning our already huge national debt, making it bigger? And frankly, I think it's questionable as to whether or not he's actually a billionaire. If he can't show it, Elon Musk can show it. Tillman Fertitta can show it. Mark Cuban can show it. They're not secretive about what they've got and what they don't got. And then, of course, there's Trump's international policy. Miss Sweden, Miss Argentina, Miss Kosovo. Lots of experience there. And all I would say, he asked about the traitor part. I said, it's just things that aren't out yet. And they're actually coming out with the Jack Smith thing. This is the other thing that makes me crazy. Alex says his tariff plan I like a lot. And I like the no taxes and overtime for tips employees. I like that. I like that too. But people need to know that a tariff is not a tax on another country. It's a tax on you. It's a sales tax.
Mm-hmm.
The no taxes on overtime and tips will encourage more work and help businesses. I agree with that.
Well, I don't pretend to understand a lot of this stuff, but my daughter Amy was talking about no tips or no taxes on tips. And she said, where that comes into a problem then is that there's no record of what you earn for Social Security purposes. And so if there's no tax on tips, then it looks like you earn very little money, which does not help come Social Security time.
Correct. Agreed.
So anyway, that was her commentary about that. And I
No, I
thought that
agree.
was
I think
pretty
that's
reasonable.
necessary. Yeah, I think that's a necessary analysis. And I'm about to get a co-host. You want to come up with the daddy?
You've got a puppy?
Yeah.
You've got a puppy by your feet?
She does this thing where she brings a stick in from outside, brings it up onto my
I
bed,
see.
and then chews it up all over
Yeah.
the bed. I'm like, yeah, just go ahead.
Ah,
I'll clean it up later. Do it. So about Amy's comment, yeah, I agree with that. I think that's a concern
mhm,
because you're going to have people in you're going to have people in food service and whatever else who
mhm,
may or may not be the most financially inclined folks. And so they're going to get to an age of
mhm,
retirement, and there's not going to be a whole hell of a lot for them to retire with because they've been making all this cash and they've been partying it up. You know, I think
mhm,
that if we're also revamping the school system somewhere, one of the math classes that's got to be brought back in to graduate is personal finance.
mhm,
I did that with Zach. That was his math class, was day trading, and then his economics class was
mhm,
personal finance. I think he still kind of has an interest in day trading because he's using it for the get rich quick, but
mhm,
he's really bitchy about making his car payment. And
mhm,
there's a thing where I was taking money out of his paycheck every pay. He got paid weekly, and I was taking money out every week. That was a fourth of his car payment. He's got that all on
mhm,
his own now, but Chase still takes that $135 a week out, even if it's not there. And so I'm trying to get that to stop because Zach's proven that
mhm.
he's on top of it. And when that $135 goes, he's on top of that too. Like, Dad, you did it again. I'm like, no, I didn't do anything. I can't stop this thing from
Mhm,
happening via Chase Bank.
mhm,
So anyway, he's learned from the finance. At first, he was getting a little crazy with having a paycheck. Now it's just school money. And now it's just, it's a lot less regularity, not the same
Yeah.
consistency. So he knows that he's got to be smarter with it. He's got to make it stretch. And I think he's learned from it. So I just wish that was a more consistently taught class than trig or calculus or things that I haven't seen since high school.
Mhm,
His Hillsborough County, his last high school guidance counselor said, because he had failed it with them, come here. Oh, you're getting so much bigger now.
Hi, Shady.
Hello. Hello.
Hello,
Hello,
Shady.
Because he failed calculus at Hillsborough, she wanted me to teach him
Oh,
calculus at Pasco County or here. And I said, no. What's he going to do that with? What's he going to do with that? If he's going to go into rocket science, he'll get calculus.
mhm.
But we got to get the kid interested in science at all. Hi, baby. Yes, I know. You love Papa. Can I talk on the radio? I talk on the radio. Oh,
I think Shady has other ideas for
she's
you
in
right now.
cases. She wants to go outside. Done with all her sticks inside. But no, that's a microphone. We're not going to lick that. We're not going to lick microphones. Oh, big puppy yawn.
Mhm.
Oh, is that a spot?
There you go. I think you found a perfect spot.
We like the pin.
Yeah.
But yeah, Amy's right. And it's not just Social Security. It's retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Cash is cash. And when it's spent, it's gone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there's good things and bad things about it. And the long.
So was there anything in your interchange that resonated with you as far as understanding why people would be attracted to voting for the trader?
I think a lot of the people that do, like his real estate, I think, is largely a cash industry for him. And so if he's charging somebody to stay at his Airbnb and they pay in cash, boom. They paid through Venmo.
Mm-hmm.
They paid through whatever. If that's, some sort of overtime, well, if that's a tip, he says, Jane, the rate's, the rate is $100 a night. And we'd like you to leave us a $200 tip. Mm-hmm. Well, that 3-bedroom unit's really being $300 a night, isn't it? Yes, but 200 of that just became tax-free.
Mm-hmm. Well, one can understand the short-term value of that, I suppose.
And for him, that's one of those loopholes that we normal people bitch about. That if he can create that for himself, because he's smart enough to think of that, you know what? Good for him. He's no dummy with money. He's bought one condo, flipped it. He doesn't necessarily like condo living, but that's not why he bought the condo. He bought it so that he can make money off of it. And some he sold, he doesn't have anymore. There's sections of Ocean City, Maryland. I think he's almost got a place in every major section of town. And he's now, I would guess he's in his mid-30s, late 30s, maybe.
Doing well.
Oh, yeah.
Good for him. Yeah. Good for him. Good for him.
Did that to his house, too. His house is actually in, I don't know exactly where. It's a little bit west of Ocean City, in more like farm country, frankly. It's a big farmhouse that he lives in. And, yeah.
And so the attraction for him is maintaining the loopholes. And it's about the money. His ability to make more under the policies or the concept of a policy, whatever it is, that Trump offers.
I don't think
it's about the money.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of those folks, the Trump supporters, like he's saying that the never Trumpers are folks who don't like Trump for personal reasons. I think the Trump supporters are folks who put up with Trump for the wrong reasons. One of the other things that we didn't get a chance to address in that conversation was money going to foreign help. He's talking about the flag that's on your screen right now, Ukraine, and perhaps also Israel and or Palestine.
Mm-hmm. But were you able to address with him the global concerns about,
we didn't get that far because it got too late into the morning and too close to showtime for me. I had to do show prep.
Okay.
But what I would push back on that, what I would have, the money we've sent to Ukraine is one, when it comes to the big picture of the United States annual budget, it's a gumball. It's a pack of gum compared to what's spent on the big picture. Israel is maybe a night out, a dinner. That, by the way, we're already sending to Israel. So we can take Israel to dinner, but we can't buy Ukraine a pack of gum. And more importantly, if us buying Ukraine a pack of gum doesn't work, then we're having them over to sleep on the couch and paying for their dinner and everything else. Because that's going to mean boots on the ground in Ukraine. Because
or abandoning Ukraine entirely.
But that's what can't happen, because when that happens,
But isn't that what people like him want?
because they
Like,
don't see
let
picture,
Ukraine deal with
they
Ukraine,
don't see a bigger picture,
right?
but they also don't realize that Trump failed in getting us out of NATO. Well, what's after Ukraine? NATO member
Well, I
countries.
understand that,
NATO member countries.
but I'm thinking, but I'm thinking the isolationist, what do you say? The isolationist position of folks like him is one of the attractions, it seems to me, of Trump supporters.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I don't call Trump supporters Republicans, because they're not. Republicans, W, Reagan, Hadis is what? The world's police department. Remember that label? Beirut, Panama.
Absolutely. Yep. And I think Trump supporters are maybe not informed about that historical perspective, but that's what I think is the attraction. Keep the money at
Right.
home. Send all these foreign folks out of this country, lock the doors, and let them do their own lives, and we'll do ours.
Which is also fascinating, to use Kamala Harris's words that I actually used first. One,
explain.
Not one of Trump's wives was an American citizen at the time of their marriage. Not one.
Okay.
And probably the most famous immigrant, refugee, foreign national in history was Jesus. So tell me any of their policies are anywhere close to what Jesus would do.
Well, that's a whole other thing.
Oh, yeah.
The hypocrisy there. Yeah. The hypocrisy there is flashing neon lights all over the place. That
well,
they seem to be blind to.
There was another post. I forget the actual particulars behind it, but it was they're all into this thing now about being somebody that stands up to a status quo and questions authority and questions the normal procedures.
Iconoclasts?
But I mean, isn't that what we all did when he said he was stopping the steal? Isn't that what we all did when he refused to leave the White House on January 20th?
What, stand up to him and say, get out of here?
So why are we the bad guys? And this gets into another thing in addition to the hypocrisy. Projection.
Oh, my. I mean, oh, my. Yeah.
And this gets back to the word I used and Kamala since used to describe it. Fascinating that these people can't see it.
That's the scary part of it. You know, that it's blatantly obvious to a rational to rational thought, and yet it doesn't seem to be. It doesn't seem it doesn't seem to break through the awareness
Yeah.
that yeah, what you're accusing me of is exactly who you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've had several, Facebook posts from folks who are talking about, how evil the Democrats are and describing Republicans or describing maggots perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
mean,
I
how can
got into that.
that be? How can that be?
Yeah. I said a year ago that the people who, because when you and I interviewed Phil Repko, he said something that really stuck with me about how he said, we've seen people on the Trump train
Mm-hmm.
and we've seen people get off the Trump train,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't really see people getting back on.
So are you telling me at the beginning then there were almost 50% of this country on the Trump train?
I think so. Absolutely. And 16, absolutely. Yeah,
I,
absolutely.
I don't think I
And
will ever understand the attraction. The only attraction I can see is that people, Americans, prefer the macho image that he imbues. I mean, as opposed
yeah, but
to
he's a coward.
but
But where
he
I was going with,
portrays,
oh yeah, he pretends. Yeah.
and that
As
is
as
attractive.
any bully does.
Yes. And
Yeah.
that is attractive to men who want to be
Do the
like
same thing.
that,
Yeah.
and attractive to women who want to be what?
Happy at home.
I
There's
guess.
no other reason.
Yep.
But where I was going with Phil's comment was with all the people that got off the Trump train, my assertion was finally the smart ones have figured it out. That the only ones left are those who are not so bright in the first place. The
Or
ones that
he,
we need to be helping, not just talking them out of being Trump supporters. That's not what I mean. But once Biden wins, we help those people build back better. Unlike the Trump administration that left opponents and continues to flaunt that idea today, left opponents in the dust. And David Beckmeyer stepped up and said, wait a minute. I think you're wrong. He said, what about the intellectuals
well,
who fancy themselves so smart?
they can use his. They can use him to
But even more
maintain
basic.
the power and to maintain the ability to use those loopholes to get richer and richer.
But
I mean,
even more basic are the reasons why that they support him in the first place. After all, they're intellectuals. They're educated. They're smart. They can't be wrong.
Al.
So they dig their heels in even further. I'm a conservative. No conservative would pick the wrong guy.
Yeah, they do flaunt that word around like it's the only smart thing to be. Saying I'm a conservative, even my Democratic leaning friends, will say, well, I'm a conservative, as if it's the only thing to be. It's a matter of values.
I say it.
Conservatives are all the way I see them. Conservatives' number one value is being successful financially. That's the value. That's what conservatism means to me. It's about the money.
I think if you're 100% Republican and straight down the line, yes. But I'm conservative.
Well, yes, so am I.
And what follows, And this is what no longer makes any sense about our political spectrum. I have guns. I support the Second Amendment. Just so happens I also support the other 9 in the Bill of Rights, but for purposes of this conversation, I support the Second Amendment. Why is that conservative?
Exactly.
Shouldn't everybody support all 26 amendments of the Constitution?
Mm-hmm. Well,
I studied constitutional law. I don't even know what all 26 are. But I support them.
Yes.
I understand why prohibition came.
Mm-hmm.
And as always, I'm glad it's gone.
Yeah. Really.
But
so anyways, yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
So we shall see. How many more days do we have?
2 weeks, roughly. I mean, it's 21st.
Yeah.
See if I can pull the calendar.
Yes, 2 weeks tomorrow. Yeah. So
Yeah.
15
Yeah,
days.
actually, that's right.
Like that.
Yeah. So 15 days.
Yeah.
So 15 days.
Not that it's going to be over in 15 days. I mean, and even if and when our team is successful, it's not going to be over.
So I think it is.
You do?
I do. Yeah. He's got nothing left. I think
he has
2 failed attempts at the presidency after having been president. Now, Reagan didn't. Reagan ran in the 70s and didn't get it. Romney ran before, and although he didn't get it in 12 either.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Come January 6th this year, who's Kamala
Mm-hmm.
was last time.
Yeah.
As right? Who this time?
Wait, as far as
certifying or accepting, however you say it, whatever the language
oh,
is.
the certified, it'll still be her. She'll either be certifying her own
Not
victory
Johnson?
or her own defeat. Al Gore did that in 2000. No, 2000.
Okay. All right. It was just a fleeting question that came at me the other day, so I wanted to check it out. With
that
you.
was hard for him because he won the popular vote. And I'm not saying that means he won the election, but the decision in Florida was with regards to continuing or discontinuing the continuing of counting ballots. And the Supreme Court stopped it while Bush was ahead, which means Bush won Florida. And there was really in many arguments, and I need to brush up on the facts and the decision and so on, but in many minds, there was no reason to stop counting, which has been for the past now 24 years, one of the issues of when do we count, when do we stop counting, and when is it too late to submit a ballot, and so on and so forth. And now they're saying as long as it's received and even marked, like by the post office, election day, you're good. And at that point, not so much anymore. It was more of the Democrats who had faith in absentee ballots, even though some of the absentee ballots, mail-in ballots, are military, which are usually more Republican. But the sour pill that Gore had to swallow was having lost the decision in the Supreme Court and then having to certify the election that he lost, questionably. And I say that being no fan of Al Gore. With all his flaws, I voted for W because it was like so many other presidential elections, the lesser of two evils. But yeah, Kamala will be in. And this would actually really be the first one she would be certifying. I don't know that she has to do it during a midterm, the 2022 election.
Yeah, I got confused on that as well.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah.
In 2020,
because I thought she was in that seat
she was in
for the 2022.
She was the vice president, which is in charge of the Senate.
Right.
That's the only legal responsibility of the vice president, is to run the Senate and to succeed the president in the event of their death. Or
because part of my memory, which is kind of shaky, is that she cast the deciding vote on what issue?
She did that 16 times. Yeah, she's done that more than once.
And the 2022 election was not it. Was not among them.
There wasn't a presidential election then. It's what's called a midterm election, meaning it's not on the presidential.
Right.
It's still a federal election. It's still a big deal. It could be. It's when Fetterman came in Pennsylvania.
Right, but there was no certification necessary.
Yeah.
At that level, at that time, for that for the midterm.
That's what I don't know if there's any. It's nothing for the Electoral College, so I would probably say no. But the other big hypocritical issue with the GOP / Republicans / MAGA, whatever you want to call them, there's to this day Ted Cruz, Scott, was it Tim Scott or Rick Scott, in Florida. All these people that spoke out against the 2020 election and said there were issues. We have. They don't want to say that Trump lost because there's this issue and that issue. Okay, so you voted to not certify that election. That also won you the House.
Right. Right.
So that's
right. So you're saying all of those elections aren't valid either.
There's this Facebook meme that I think is just classic. Some woman you see the back of her head, and she's talking to this little kid aside of her, and this little black kid who just, he's got attitude. And he just pulled back and he's looking at her like, really? And the caption reads, "You mean Democrats rigged the election, but they let Mitch McConnell win?" That makes no sense.
Right. That's a good one. I like that. Poor Mitch. Yeah. He's really out of the picture these days, huh?
Well, I mean, yeah, this term limits, age restrictions, something. Back in like the times of Washington and John Adams didn't want to be president. John Adams didn't want to run for Congress. His buddies had to talk him into running for Congress. And it wasn't so you could further your own retirement fund or develop your resume. It was because you already had the resume and your country needed your help. I think if we put term limits in for Congress, it'll be more inspiring for them to make a legacy of themselves for the short time that they're there. 300 million people. You're telling me we can't find 500 of them that are decent every couple of years? And have a clue? And are in touch with the communities they just came from? Easily. We just got to quiet people like Bono from U2, who couldn't anyway because he's not an American citizen. But when he was asked if he would ever run for president, he said, "Why would I want to live in a smaller house?"
Oh, right. Oh my God.
$400
True
million,
enough.
I guess it's a question.
Yeah, true enough. True enough. So what else you got
I
going
liked
on?
your Anne Frank
You
thing. And again, just
uh,
hypocrisy, projection, and ignorance. I
mhm,
strongly believe that what Trump has done is very much in the lines of Hitler. And what's fascinating, again, there's that word, I don't think he hides it. I really don't think he's hiding it. He's blatantly
mhm.
saying he's going to use the military to prosecute people who
Against
cheated in the
individuals.
election.
Yeah.
You've already been locking up Hillary from just your campaign slogan. Where was
Mhm,
the due process in coming up with that campaign slogan? And now we're going to just try her and find her guilty? That's not what a trial does. It's not a box to check
mhm.
like it is in your buddy's country of Russia.
Mhm.
Sometimes they're not guilty, even when they are. And you got to live with that. And that's what this guy fails at miserably, is essentially losing and or taking no for an answer. And that's okay to be, like a passionate and what's the word? Competitive. But Michael Jordan didn't win the NBA championship every year he played in the NBA. And he just came back stronger next year.
Mhm. Well, the Anne Frank thing was all about how is it people end up accepting things that they what? That they never would have accepted any other time. What is it? And it's the group
Yeah.
think that people are, like the experiment, Milgram's famous
Right.
experiment where he ended up shocking different people as part of an experiment. And because he was the scientist, or he was in charge, the the um what do you say, the experiment happened. People were willing to shock people because they were told to,
Yeah.
even though the people on the other end were what? Groaning first and then screaming in pain and then going silent, and yet because the experimenter said, "You signed up for this. This is where you're getting paid to
Right.
do this, and we are continuing with this experiment." And people did not have the individual moral strength or something to say, "Hey, this is wrong. I'm not doing that." They were told to do it, so they did it. And so what I've read what I've read also since is that if there had been several other people in the room at the same time willing to say, "No, this is not right," then you gather together your own moral forces and are able to, you know, say no. Or in some cases, on the other end of the spectrum, you go along with whatever it is the group does, whether it's good or
Or
bad.
did you see the clip from Ghostbusters that I sent you?
I did. It,
Or in
uh,
Bill Murray's case?
it
Yeah.
did a number on my phone for a little while, so I didn't see the actual
Yeah.
ending
Well,
of it. My phone went
uh,
black.
well,
And I thought, "Oh my god, the ghosts are after my phone."
he's just really enticing. He's only doing the whole thing just to the two subjects are this nerdy guy,
That's the word I was looking for.
is
Yeah.
this nerdy guy, and then the other
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
subject is
yeah.
this hot blonde girl. that he's interested in.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
he's holding this playing card up, side of his head. And he goes, okay,
Yeah.
clear your mind. Tell me what you think of it. And she guesses a star after the other guy just guessed a star.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks and it's a circle. And he goes, that's amazing. You have a knack for this. And he puts the card down before he shows it because it's not.
Right.
And then the other guy guesses right. He goes, oh,
Yep.
this just isn't your lucky day.
And shocked
but
it.
then in the last one, he goes, he kind of builds up to it. He looks at the guy, nervous. He looks at the girl, winks at her, and she kind of smiles because she's getting them all right.
Yeah.
You ready? What is this doing? I am trying to study the effect of negative reinforcement in ESP. I'll tell you what it's doing. It's pissing me off. You are getting paid for this. Keep the $5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he gets over to the girl and he goes, you're going to have to get used to this. This is going to be the reaction that people are going to give just because they don't have your powers. And she just kind of like, giggles a little bit. And then that's it. You kind of figure that he's going to take her to dinner or whatever. But yeah, that's the first thing I thought of when you mentioned the shock therapy. But yeah, I mean, if any, and I made this point before, if any political candidate, and unfortunately they're all career politicians, so they're held to a higher standard. But Gary Hart lost out on the Democratic nomination because of a picture of a woman sitting on his lap.
On his lap, right.
Regardless of what happened in the background
and
what allegedly happened or didn't happen or whatever, he lost out because of that picture. Donald Trump is tackling his own daughter in the back of a limo. And that's okay. After on multiple occasions,
times have changed.
After on multiple occasions saying that he would love to date his daughter. Ooh. And I'm not saying it because Ivanka's, I've seen her in person. Ivanka's beautiful. No illusion. But daughter, a little weird. Yeah, I mean, really, you're wondering why Tim Walz is calling you guys weird. There's a clue. There's a little bit.
Right.
All right.
Right. But we put all that aside. So in favor of his ability to project a certain masculinity that is attractive, it's who his supporters want to be ultra masculine and who his female supporters want to hang out with. Let's put it that way. And it's that vision. I think it's that vision of America from way back when, the rebels, the uncultured, the unschooled, the strong, the rugged individualism, as opposed to the European, more cultured, more feminine, more
I was just going to say,
laid back model. I mean, that's what this country was founded on. That rugged individual macho kind of ethos.
Yeah, but even George Washington had compassion.
But he must have exuded a certain
he was crazy.
Masculine, macho. He must
Which
have
one
somewhere.
Was it? It was either during the French and Indian War or in the Revolution. He single-handedly attacked on horseback the either French or British lines, depending on which war it was, by charging the line with his horse, waving his saber, Now, keep something in mind also. And this for this time of day, back in the 1700s, George Washington was like 6'4", which ain't a small guy. That's Donald Trump's height. That was huge 200 years ago. He was towering over people 200. So a 6'4" guy charging at you and you can't hit him with a musket, that doesn't bode well for your army. But also the fact that he charged the opposing lines like that on horseback doesn't bode well for his smarts either. But he didn't come out unscathed, not a brush of a bullet.
Yeah. And I think that whole spirit, that whole look is still embedded in almost the majority of this country.
But Donald Trump,
that's what we want. That's what we want our leaders to be. We want them to be strong.
Fine.
We don't want them to be wimpy.
Bring in,
and that's what Reagan exuded. That's what W exuded, more so than their competitors.
Two people who were never in the military.
Right.
Bring in J.D. Vance, if he's also got the smarts.
Yeah.
Bring in Tim Walz.
Yeah. Here's another.
Bring in Buttigieg. People who have seen combat on some level somewhere.
Yeah.
But Donald Trump got taken out of the military in the draft by a favor from a doctor. Is that the bell?
I know. I don't know. But we were in for a bumpy ride. And
15 days.
Yep. We're in for a bumpy ride from now until God knows when.
I think he loses this one. I think he's out.
I hope you're right.
That's
all I got to say. I hope you're right. I don't think they're not going to let him ride into the sunset.
I didn't think they would let him back on this one either. But I think now the age is too much of a factor. I think this is an opportunity for Pence to come back. Or
really?
I don't think Pence is going to get it. But I think he's going to be enough. He could be in 28. He could be enough of a spoiler for Trump. And keep in mind, that's also 4 more years of legal problems.
Holy
You all right?
Yeah. That was hard. It was hard to imagine Trump in 2028.
Yeah.
I mean, I just figured if he's gone this time, he's gone.
I mean, that's why I say I don't.
Gone.
Yeah, I think he loses 24. He's done. And I just see this as too big of a window of opportunity for the GOP, for the actual Republican Party, to take back the party and kick the rest of his family out with him.
Well, do you think they'll bring in Vance?
No. Vance called him Hitler. Vance called him an opiate. And now they're buddies. I think the Republicans are going to continue to eat their own. And Cruz and Vance are going to be the two first served up. Cruz is struggling, if not actually losing in polls in Texas right now. And he's getting very little, if any, help from the party financially. Rick Scott is financing his own campaign, being a multi-gazillionaire. And he's close. I can't pronounce her first. She's got a hyphenated name, Debbie Powell. It's Debbie something with an M. I can't pronounce it. I can never remember what it is. / Powell, who is a former congresswoman that had been voted out. Oh, watch the cable. I think the kid's here to see the puppies. Had been voted out. she's almost beating him. And I just think we're seeing the beginning of the end of MAGA. God will.
I can only hope. I can only hope. And I can only hope.
All right, well, you about ready?
I am.
All righty then. Get some commercials, so we'll let you get out of here.
Okay, so I'm
And I'm
Jane
yours.
Stahl. And this is Both Sides Now.
And up the middle. Thanks for joining us. I'll be back tomorrow.
And
we'll see Jane again next week.
Okay.
And,
all right. Yep. You take care. Have a good week. I love your new digs.
Yeah. You and I have, what would that be? We have 2 more shows before Election Day. Because next week would be the 28th.
Yes, we do.
And then the week after that is November.
We do.
So, yeah, okay.
We do.
See you again.
We do. We do.
All
right. You take care. Too. Have a good week. Bye-bye.
All right, gang. So that's going to be it. I got some commercials that we get in the next couple of minutes. 99.1 WDJY and everything else at Mastiff Media Network. We'll be back after this.
From iHeart Podcasts.
What the hell is going on in here?
Everyone has their limits.
I'd never confronted a situation like this.
The numbers were being inflated and lied about and conflated.
I just thought it was just a really terrible, immoral thing for him to do.
A line they won't cross.
I was stunned, and I just said to him, no.
We're killing people. What exactly are we doing here?
I remember him saying, in this 007 evil villain kind of way, this is the beginning of a process.
You may never have to face that decision. When you find yourself at that line,
thoughts racing, hearts racing, emotions are all over the place.
They could be harassed, they could be imprisoned, they could be killed.
Somebody needs to just, for once, give everybody the whole truth.
I'm like, this is evil.
And the only person who can sound the alarm is you.
She folded it up, put it in her pantyhose, and walked out of the building.
Yeah, I really am the world's dumbest criminal.
These are the whistleblowers.
I wasn't just going to sit silently by.
I was told you take your questioning black self and get it on up out of my facility because you're trouble.
The message is, if you are disloyal, if you speak out, you will pay.
This is what it's like when the president decides he wants to destroy you.
Bad things are going to happen to him.
You're an anti-American. You are a
disgrace to our country. He should be prosecuted.
When power corrupts, conscience is the last line of defense.
Is it ever too late to do the right thing?
We talk about institutions, but they're really about individual people.
The responsibility drops in everybody's lap.
I'm Miles Taylor. The Whistleblowers premieres Thursday, July 13th on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Check out Miles Taylor and the Whistleblowers. I've referenced that plenty of times throughout Up the Middle, Both Sides Now, and Yerg's Tonight. He does an excellent job telling the stories of various people who blew the whistle on the Trump administration and their reasons why, personal and professional, as well as the consequences that these people paid to get the truth to the public. Check out the Whistleblowers on Apple, iHeart, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. The July date that he mentioned is from 2023, and season 1 is complete. It's excellent, and it's still very relevant, probably now more than ever. So I certainly recommend that you give it a look. See you again.